Getting morning assembly done. All right, everyone. It looks like we have a bunch of guests there. Thank you so much for showing up for our coffee chat on Friday. This is an historical day, Chelsea. Oh, everybody knows Miss Pullam, our chief medical technician, Chelsea Pullam. Who this is a historical day. I remember
it is.
2 years ago, spring break, we went into spring break, not understanding exactly what this pandemic was and what was going on. And some were saying, don't worry. And some were saying, worry. And there was a lot of a lot of conflicting information. And Mickey and I, we hooked up our trailer because we weren't certain about what the world was going to do. So we hooked up our trailer and we went to Alabama just to be with our grandkids and our granddaughter at that point, and our son. And we just over spring break, we just sat out in the pasture and waited to see what was going to happen. It was during spring break that they announced that all the schools are going to be shut down. So it was March 16th, 2 years ago, that we came back from spring break to having to be isolated online, and our world was different. So here we are, exactly 2 years later, our friends, guests, and we have some wonderful news from yesterday's Maricopa County Department of Public Health meeting. So I've asked Chelsea today. She is not feeling well. She looks great, but she's not feeling well. So I asked her what the nurse would say. What would Chelsea tell you to do?
Chelsea told me to go home.
After this, Chelsea,
get some rest.
Get some rest. All right, Ms. Pullam, tell us what's going on.
Well, first, it's great to be back. I know we got spring break coming up. And it is a beautiful thing after yesterday's meeting. You got your coffee, I see. But I will show you something we have been waiting for, I would say, for the longest time. So I'm going to share my screen. And here we go. If you can see this page, can you see that, Dr. Windsor?
I can't.
All right.
Pages for the entire day.
Right. The number we are finally at is 87 percent, or 87 cases of positive cases per 100,000 people in Maricopa. So we are now at 7%. We are way below 10%, which is beautiful. And so that means new things for masking. It's not going to be required. I know, yeah, definitely. And the thing about this is too, when they do these dates, it is slightly behind. So I know Paideia, we've had like 0 cases for the last 2-3 weeks, which has been great. And we've just been waiting for the community to get down to this level. So yeah, now we're at 7%, and they let us know yesterday that we can relax masking. Of course, if you are still feeling sick, case in point, me, good thing there's nobody in my office, my door's closed, but you would still mask up. We'll still have scholars who are feeling ill mask up. But first things first, we're going to follow those rules and try to keep them home when it comes to that point. Now at Paideia, we were able to get more COVID tests from Maricopa County. So with the cases being so low, and if anybody comes in with symptoms, we will be able to test them here. And I have a consent form that will be going out to parents. But for that, I'm excited to see our scholars' faces.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
It's interesting that little Zoe's mom came up dropping her off, and she said, "Oh, Dr. Windsor, I bought some masks. I bought some masks coming over." I said, "Oh, okay, thank you. Masks are over now, so we don't have that mask anymore." I told her first.
Right.
But I think we could still use them, as supply, because as Chelsea said, if a scholar or a teacher shows any symptoms of like anything, because I don't want to spread flu or strep or anything, I think we're just gonna gently have them mask up. And also, Chelsea, I think they said that if somebody is at risk, or if they're autoimmune or has high allergies, or there's some other reason, and it's a good idea to to allow them and their choice to mask up. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's the big word is the optional. And here's my main thing. If you are immunocompromised, please go talk with your doctor, and you guys come up with a plan yourselves. If you have a scholar who you really want to stay masked up, I would probably follow up with your teacher and just really talk with your scholar about making sure they keep their mask on if that's what you recommend for you and your family. But yeah, we'll still have them available here. The rules will still be the same. If you are exposed to anybody with COVID, you will still have to quarantine for 5 days. If you've had COVID within the last 3 months or 90 days, you won't have to quarantine, but you will have to mask up for 10 days. As well as if you are fully vaccinated, you won't have to quarantine, but still mask up. And speaking of vaccinations, our vaccination event over the weekend went really well. It was a beautiful thing. We had a lot of Paideia families out there, and it was kind of crazy to see everybody just come together. Instead of like waiting to see how they felt after the shot, they went outside and played all together.
That was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
But definitely still get your vaccine, which we're having another vaccine event on March 19th. So we'll do that.
Hey, can you
Now,
go back one slide? The slide just before that showed the big epi curve.
yeah.
And so I love that. I took some notes on mine about how they were saying that, if I understood it right, Chelsea, that this curve was so spiked up and it came down so fast because it went through and created a whole bunch more of people who are now immune. They've had it, so now it's more immunity and more people vaccinated, which helps it. That's why it's down so low.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I believe there's only, I read something yesterday that said there's over 6 million people in just Maricopa County who have been vaccinated. Now, Maricopa County is pretty big, but we have pretty close to 6 to 8 million just in our county in general. So that's way past, 50%, 75%. That's pretty beautiful. So that happened. Let me see. I wanted to show you our next. That's the other thing. They're talking about moving from pandemic to endemic. So we're kind of shifting gears here. And they start talking about hospitalization rates. So before we would go to community rates, now they're shifting it to just hospitals in general and how many people come in with COVID and test positive in hospitals. And the case,
that's where I was getting confused. Now
yeah.
They're not going with general community infection rates, but it's just the hospital rates that are being admitted and that makes
and they're positive. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that will give some relief to our hospitals. Let me see. I wanted to go to number 8. So we were in high before, a high transmission. Now we are in a medium. So again, if you are at high risk for any severe illness, like I said, talk to your healthcare provider. And just what we'll do is we'll continue to meet up with Maricopa County and stay up to date on COVID-19. If anything happens where, cases start to rise again, we will probably put masking back into effect for a while until it goes back down. But we would love to see those numbers stay down.
Hey, there's a good question. I think we have time, so we'll just maybe chat as we go on this. The question is, I'm happy the curve is low, but are we concerned about that after spring break and everybody's traveled about and getting rid of the mask policy right after many people have traveled? And I think that they addressed that too, but what's your thoughts, Chelsea?
Honestly, we saw such a big increase in cases from, Christmas time, the December break. I believe that at this moment for spring break, it might kind of pop up, but I'm not too convinced that it's going to be what it was before. So we may have cases, but I'm not worried about it getting completely back up there. Plus, there's a lot more people who are vaccinated. So it's just kind of have to just wait and see.
Yeah. I remember them saying about this, that because the whole nation is going way down to this low and the vaccinations are up, that
Yeah.
they're not as concerned. That's why they're going to the requirements for hospitalization rates instead of just the community rate. Because we're moving from a pandemic to more like treating this as if as a seasonal flu,
Yeah.
or you know, that kind of thing.
Yep. Exactly. But if you are concerned, definitely, like I said, you always have the option to send your scholar here with a mask.
Yeah.
Oh. So here is a bigger picture of Arizona. So before, the whole state was red. And here's Maricopa County in this brighter yellow area, which is beautiful. Like I said, we've been waiting for that for a while. And 11. So we're still going to go with, like I said, CDC and Maricopa County recommendations for masking. Sorry, I have a scholar at the door. I will say right now, there have been a few cases of flu going around that they've been trying to figure out. It's kind of spiking back up. So as we know, flu and COVID are kind of similar. So if your scholar is having flu-like symptoms or COVID-like symptoms, I would recommend that you go ahead and get them tested. And I wouldn't send them to school when we get back. But if they are still ill when they get back or they're recovering, send them back with a mask. And then 12, like I said, isolation and quarantine guidelines are still the same. Still 5 days for isolation, still 5 days for quarantine. Still send me updates on vaccination cards if your scholar gets vaccinated. And it'll just help us more to decide whether a scholar has to go home and quarantine for a while, or if they can stay in class with a mask on for 5 additional days. So this slide was basically for our school reporting. We're pretty much up to date on, not pretty much, we are up to date on all COVID reports, so it doesn't really apply to us as of right now. Yeah, outbreaks. Yeah, that's kind of, it's kind of it. That's the basis, is that our masks are being gone.
There's a discussion I would like to have. In fact, I asked our school social worker, Mrs. Smith, to join us, but she's in a little counseling session across the street. Here is one of my concerns, and I see Victoria is a guest attendance. I wish she could jump in on this conversation, Ms. Garrison. But here's one of my concerns. Over time, greeting scholars at the gate and just knowing and loving our scholars as I do, and Chelsea and Victoria, we all do. I've made the comment to students, man, I can't wait till I get this mask off. I don't like it. And Chelsea, you know what? Every once in a while, more times than I thought would happen, a scholar will say, I'm not taking mine off. And I said, what? Why aren't you taking your mask off? And they'll say, because I'm ugly.
Oh,
I know.
we have some beautiful scholars. I don't know.
So now my concern is, so I'm going to counsel with all of our teachers and with our community that our scholars have had their masks on so long that it might be also traumatic to take them off. So we have to make an environment where, because I remember when we first started putting the masks on, there was mask shaming and there was anger, and and people be getting all crazy about, and I felt sometimes, especially when I went back into like Alabama and Georgia, and that my wife and I'd have our masks on, and we kind of felt like weird because a lot of people look at us like, what are you doing with the mask on? We felt that way. I don't want the opposite to happen now. Like if somebody decides not to, and I mean, yeah, somebody decides to keep it on. So that's just something we have to be conscious of,
Yeah, agreed.
All right, any questions? Ask them some questions. I'll pop you on to our, I can There's a lot of people on today. Oh, another thing. So because of this, and in fact, the doctors and the experts on our webinar yesterday, the data that they share, it's a week out. It's a week old. So they said everything is indicating it's even going down and down and down further. So announcements starting on Monday, the 14th, we're going to reopen for morning assembly, not necessarily for parents to come in yet. I'm not sure if I'm there yet, but we're gonna slowly get back to the Paideia that we were. And so we're gonna move morning assembly inside to feel the love, feel that energy of morning assembly. We're going to open back up for clubs. So the Little Mermaid, hopefully there's time to get the Little Mermaid back splashing, into the ocean and get this thing done. Green Earth team with Mr. Chambers, after school choir, the arts. We have 1 quarter left of 2022. And so we want to be able to do that. I have a question here. Will teachers be able to require their scholars to wear masks in their classroom? Or it's going to definitely be optional for the student. Now, if a parent calls, let's say a parent calls a teacher, I don't want to name it anyway, a teacher and says, really, I need my scholar to wear a mask. Well, then we can have our teacher remind, but really it would be, I think we're in new territory now, but I don't think I would have our teacher dress code the child and force it. But I think the teacher should stay in contact with the parent and say, hey, little Johnny was good about wearing the mask today, but I had to remind him a couple of times, so could you help me with that? I don't want to make this a behavior thing and that kind of stuff. It definitely be up to the scholar and the parent, not the teacher, but we want to work as a partnership. All right, who else? Take this moment while anybody's generating the question to announce also, remember, the last week of March and April 1st is our Nature Week. And April 1st, that Friday, is our 2nd annual tree planting, and we're going to open that to the community. We're at that place where we can reopen and just have the community come in and help us to plant trees. The challenge actually, Chelsea.
Yes, sir.
It's just the strangest thing. We come across barriers and things I have to figure out. And right now, the greatest barrier to our annual tree planting, there's no trees.
What are we gonna
do? because everybody's on this tree planting kick, and has become in vogue to go out and plant trees. The trees we want to plant, there's only one available that I can get for our tree plantings. so we're looking and trying to figure that thing out. All right, listen, I had another one somewhere. I'm happy the curve is low. Will teachers be able to? This is a great day. Yes, it is. Will the school campus classrooms be open for? Yes, the school campus is open for volunteers. Please come in. If you feel like you need to wear a mask, please wear a mask. But we are definitely open for volunteers now, since everyone will be returning from spring break. Oh, I did that one. I think I missed that middle one. About volunteers. All right. And of course, next week there'll be no coffee chat because I'm out. I need a full 7 days to rejuvenate. If you can see my office right now, I want to show you something. I'm going to just complain for a minute, Chelsea, if you're okay.
I'm okay.
Okay. Look. Do you see my floor? I'm trying to figure out getting the technology on the carts and everything, and we're just short-staffed. So I figured, well, you know what? If not me, who? If not, if not now, when? So I just took it upon myself. So I'm going to need a break. What else?
I want to know where you can get a sweater or a shirt for parents.
I don't know if they come available with this kind of physique. You are laughing too much on that one.
You know why? You have to say, you know, they charge extra for that.
They charge extra for this physique.
For this.
They are all available for sale over at the Baseline campus. And we are going to make one with the elementary owl on it for the elementary campus. It's being ordered and made right now too. But these are so comfortable. I just want to sleep in it. Sometimes I do, right there.
Somebody is asking, has the notification to parents changed when a child is known to have symptoms of COVID? Notification to parents in the same class, I mean. Okay, so we don't notify when somebody has symptoms. We only notify when there's been a positive COVID basically case. But yeah, symptomatic, because it can be anything. It can be the flu, it can be a cold, it can be really bad allergies. There's kind of a lot going around right now. So yeah, only if there's a positive case. When does this take? Okay, Ms. Rodriguez, this takes place when we come back from spring break on March 14th. Okay, somebody's saying, I just want to say that my daughter will be so excited to hear about this. She is a kindergartner and has had a rough time with it. Understandable. Almost not wanting to come to school someday, so we are very happy about this change. Yes, ma'am. I don't know who you are, it says anonymous, but we are excited as well.
You know what another piece I'm excited about?
What's that?
Masks are the new trash.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they blow everywhere. And when you think about the mask, you go, am I going to pick that up? It's been on somebody's face, mouth, and nose. So it's kind of this weird, like, new garbage that I'm so happy to get rid of. You're getting questions I'm not getting. I'm glad they're asking you, Chelsea.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy because, you know, the masks go like this. We'll get boxes and boxes of masks. And I would say we have a lot of scholars that'll come and get like 3 or 4 masks. And it's just like, what happened? But I can't say we have some pretty fancy masks. So I can't blame them for loving them.
I'm going to actually miss. So my wife has gotten me a bunch of different kind of owl masks. I'm not going to miss them. No, I might just hang them up on my wall or something.
As a remembrance.
Oh, you know, I agree with Miss Hobage. I am so excited to see smiles again. The joyful faces of kids, because we're a hugging place and we're a joyful place for the most part. We're also humans and sometimes have misunderstandings, but I'm just so excited to see the smiling face and to be able to show my smiling face because I'm a handsome dude too. It's the word out there on the street anyway. All right, we are almost out of time. Any other questions? I know Chelsea must be fading fast and needs to get home.
It's okay. It's okay. Somebody's asking, will masks no longer be required for all scholars? Yes, ma'am. So again, March 14th, when they come back from spring break, it will not be required. But again, you can speak with your scholar if you want them to continue masking, but be firm with your scholar if you want them to continue masking. You know, teachers can try to speak with them if you want them to, but again, it's up to you and your scholar.
Yeah. Also, I'm excited about it feels weird to me, it always has, to point this little thermometer thing at the head of a child. I mean, I've never been comfortable with it, and I know we had to do it, but we're not going to do that anymore. You know what? In the hundreds, in the thousands and thousands and thousands of temperatures we've taken out there, Chelsea, how many have we found that were over 100?
I would say, actually, I don't think hardly any. If that.
I've only had a couple, and
yeah,
we had to set them aside, kind of wait from it because they had their beanie on and they just got out of the car and it's hot.
Yeah.
And then we just cool down the shade. Oh, you don't have a temperature. So it's like, No,
Definitely.
no more screening. Now we can just greet people at the gate like we normally do and hug and love and be our normal selves. Ms. Garrison, do you have anything to add to this? I see that you're as a guest, and do you have anything you want to add? I knew she was going to come here. I'd have made her a panelist.
Make her a panelist. No, just kidding.
I can't see how to do it. All right. Well, I hope everyone has a safe spring break. Go home. It's habit 7 time to sharpen the saw, self-renewal, be with family. It's been a tragic 2 years for a lot of us. Thankfully, I didn't lose any family members to COVID-19. My mom passed away over winter break, but that was due to being on this planet for a long, long time. So I know that, Chelsea, I know you've had family members pass away, and some of our other employees, and my heart goes out to you guys. And I hope it's over with for a while.
Agreed.
All right, thank you, everybody. There's no coffee chat next Friday, but we'll see you again on the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and March 18th. Thanks, everyone.